What are people at war about? What are conflicts about? What are disagreements and arguments about? Very seldom are they about behaviour, but about words. Consider words. Even when there's not a conflict, a real conflict, there's still a conflict. There's still a slight conflict when we're talking, when we're having a conversation. There's still this tension. There's me wanting you to understand me, and there's you wanting you to understand you, or me to understand you, and you to understand me. It's all about a relationship of words, a relationship with the English language or other languages. I have something to say, and you have something to say. And millions of people have something to say. These points of view are what we're all about. And we're wanting each point of view to be heard, to be listened to, and to be accepted, to be embraced. But we're trying to convey through the language that I want to be loved. I want to be accepted. I want to be heard. And all of these words, these points of view are coming from a body-mind, a vessel. Consider making a cake, let's say a Victoria sponge. There is not just one recipe to make a Victoria sponge, or a chocolate gateau, or a lemon drizzle cake. But I'm sure there are certain people that will say, that's the best lemon drizzle cake. Well, I see it on the internet. I think there was a recipe from The Guardian, considering which was the best lemon drizzle cake. But do you see many chefs at war with one another? Many cooks at war with one another. In England, we have Mary Berry. What a name, Berry. Mary Berry, who must be in her 80s by now. And Delia Smith, again maybe in her 80s. These two have written umpteen books on cookery. Can't go wrong with a Mary Berry recipe. Can't go wrong with a Delia Smith recipe. They're recipes. You follow instructions. And as long as you follow the instructions, the result is a lovely lemon drizzle cake or a Victoria sponge. But the recipes differ. And there's more than one cook, more than one chef, and thus more than one or two or three different recipes, but they all turn out a particular cake. There could be a war of cakes, or a war of differing opinions regarding the recipes. There are followers, no doubt. There are members of the Delia Smith Club and the Mary Berry Club and the Nigella Lawson Club. But they don't necessarily all get together. But on the internet, there's many groups. You don't need to see. You don't need to be physically present with other people. But there isn't surely a war going on regarding which is the best. Not a physical war. But maybe there have been many deaths regarding cooking over the centuries. But are you getting the point? Do you understand? It's a war of words. Are you listening to what I'm saying? You agree or disagree? These are just words. Beliefs. People believe in this and that and the other. Their lives depend upon belief. Their so-called happiness, conditional happiness, depends on beliefs. But people like Jesus came on the earth to abandon beliefs. He just simply said, love God first. Just simply love. But very few people know what God is. For me, God is represented by the open hand. And for me, God is a body-mind disposition. A disposition of love and happiness and joy. A graceful or gracefully happening disposition that is free of conflict. Absolutely free of conflict. And the vessel is still. The vessel is at peace. There's absolutely no need to convince anybody. But this stillness, this spiritual rebirth, is an aloneness. Few people cannot accept the concept of being alone. They think it's loneliness. But no. Standing alone is true maturity. Standing alone as God, as this Spirit, as this disposition, this place, is utter freedom from all emotional baggage, conflict, and argument, and tension, and stress, and point of view. This stillness is God. This silence is God. You do not need, once you're here, to belong to anyone. You just don't belong to anyone. Like the oak tree stands alone. Like the ship stands alone. It doesn't have to belong to anything. The human being doesn't have to belong to anyone or anything. We don't belong to anyone or anything. It's an imaginative, it's a fictitious, it's fictitious. It's It's of the mind. It's imaginary. And that clenched fist disposition is ego, represented by this activity, the self-contraction, which is sin, which is separation from this place. I was listening to a video on YouTube regarding the decreasing number of members in the Christian church. Apparently there's 24 million members of the Church of England. I assume that means on their books that number of people have been baptized, possibly confirmed. I was baptized and I was confirmed. Am I still a member? And apparently less than 1 million attend church each day or each week. But what does it matter? Jesus didn't come to say belong to a group. He was radical. He came to interfere with belonging to any particular group. Groups come together like an army of people. And the more there are in group A and the less there are in group B, means that group A will have more chance to win more members. They're at war with one another because there's more members there. They think they're better, greater, whatever. Makes no difference. I think there's something in the Bible that says it's not what comes out of the man that defiles him. No, it's not what goes into a man that defiles him. What comes out of the man defiles him. It's this spirit. We've got to have the spirit. This energy, this life force. It's the disposition of the person that matters. Do you see, when you hear the words of anybody, do you see whether that person's disposition is stable, is rested, is already happy? Do you see whether that person is trying to win you over or simply happy to share? What's your body-mind up to? Your body-mind. There's no body-mind that belongs to anyone. That which I am doesn't have a body-mind. I don't belong to the car when I drive it. So what's driving this body-mind? God, the Spirit, which we truly are. Consider billions and billions of CDs and DVDs. At one time, and there still are millions, of course, were all blank, with nothing on these CDs and DVDs. And that's what's in common with every CD or DVD. It's simply that they are blank, without any content. And then during a process, content is added to these blank CDs, differing content. Millions. In fact, trillions, no doubt, of CDs and DVDs. What's more important, the content of a DVD? Without the actual DVD or CD, you couldn't have any content. What's more important, the empty vessel or the liquid? Are they equally important? I don't know, really. I couldn't say that the liquid is more important than the vessel. I certainly wouldn't be able to bring in the liquid from the kitchen without the vessel. I couldn't put the liquid into my body, into this body, without the vessel. And what's more important, the vessel or the one who made it, the potter? And what's more important, the ability that the potter has, or the potter? And where do we get this ability? Just stirring. Just being able to do that. There's thousands of people who can't even do that because of various reasons. Disabilities maybe. But to stir the tea. Maybe someone with Parkinson's couldn't do this. I don't know. But to stir it, that action. Who's doing that action? It's not me. It's the hand. And what's driving the hand? God, the Spirit. And I love the word happenings. How is it all happening? I wonder how it's all happening. I wonder how that happened. How did that happen? It's a mystery, isn't it? How did that just happen? And that just happened. How did that just happen? And that just happened. How is it all happening? It's a mystery. The open hand disposition does not know anything. It's blissfully happy, not knowing. Ignorance is bliss, not knowing. Who made this pullover, this shirt? I know the person who cut my hair. You don't. Don't know him well. But I know who he was. But I don't know who made this. Look at this beautiful pullover. I love it. I absolutely love this pullover. It's cashmere. But how did it happen? How did this design happen? How does it happen? How did this crew neck, this V-neck happen? Why isn't it just slightly, like that? How does anything happen? The stubble, haven't shaved for a week or so. How does it happen? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't there a mystery in your life? Isn't life a mystery? Is there not a hymn? How does anything happen? Isn't it a thrill? Isn't it a thrill? You see, familiarity breeds contempt. So true. But the open hand disposition is not familiar with anything. It recognizes, but it's not familiar. It's all a newness. It's always a newness, a freshness, a beginning. How does anything happen? That sound, is that lovely? The shape of the fingers. That's slightly stronger, or is that because that sound like that? And we want to know why, don't we? A lot of the time. When I was a child, or when I was a child, or in my teens, I don't know when I first considered this, but there am I eating, and I would say, how do I know which piece of food to put the fork into next? How did that happen? I went from I was a meat eater at that time. Go to the meat or the vegetables or the potatoes, and then I cut it up, and I would think, how did that happen? That I went for the meat that time, or for the carrot that time, or for some peas. How does it happen? It was a mystery to me. We don't need to know the workings of electricity. We just do that, don't we? We have faith that it's going to go on, and then if it doesn't work, we say, oh no, the bulb's gone again, or something. Got to go and get a new light bulb now. But how does anything happen? It's just a joy and a delight. The open hand disposition of happiness, love, joy, intimacy is the true disposition of the body-mind. It's not reliant on any words, on any beliefs. It certainly is not. Ignorance is bliss. There's an emptiness. There's a stillness. And I'm just so grateful. Absolutely grateful for my teacher. And it does sound much. And basically, to live in this disposition, we have to forget that. He said, just forget it. Don't meditate on it. Don't meditate on your concerns. Don't meditate on the clouds. Simply turn away from it all. As Jesus said, remember me. That's all we need to do is remember the agent or the agents of God. There have been many, not just Jesus. I mentioned Jesus because don't we all know who Jesus was? Anyway, conflicts and arguments and wars, it's all about language. It's all It's all wars are about words. Words which can often become beliefs, and then the actions follow. You insulted me, so I'm going to slap your face. You offended me, so I'm going to kick you out. Yesterday I made love with this lady via music. I noticed she had a piano in her living room. I said, would you like me to play it? I was spending the night in her not conservatory, garden cabin, a kind of cabin. I was on holiday in Scotland. And she absolutely loved the fact that I said, would you like me to play the piano? I played some solo piano pieces. And she loved singing, and I saw some songs. And we had about an hour and a half together. And basically, we were making love. No barriers, no divisions. She loved music, and I was loving the occasion. I was love in that moment. There was no contraction, no nonsense, no separation, no me and you. Just a oneness and a happiness and an intimacy, which is common to us all. So going back to the CDs, it's what's common. It's this blank CD that's common to everybody, to all those CDs. So it's this open hand disposition that's common to every individual. I would say to all these presidents and political leaders and what have you, I say, stop what you're doing and go and have a game of football. But you and that can be a bit of a war. Have a friendly match with one another. Or go into a hotel and cook some cakes and offer it to the guests. Do something together. Orchestras come together. 60, 80, 90 different people come together to make a wonderful sound. But I'm not saying they all come from this disposition, because they don't, but nevertheless. There has to be no barriers, no division, no separation, and there isn't from this disposition. They come together. So thank you, beloved Adidar Samraj. For your love and your blessings and for your grace. Thank you.